about my man Drake that you threw in here. So, does a Drake feature still carry weight in 2024? That's a great fucking question.
I want to say yes, because, in the past we've seen what it did for Migos with the Versace remix. We saw what it did for Fetty Wap, Future, Summer Walker, with the Girls Need Love remix. And so it had been a long time since Drake had kind of hopped onto some newcomers track. And, with the Billboard charts dropped today, we saw that it's the number 7 song in America. So I think, yes, I would say it does still carry weight.
I think as long as he's at his peak where he is now, as far as mainstream America, and I consider Drake a pop artist now. I don't consider Drake. I don't, and I'm gonna be honest with you, because there's a certain level or ceiling with rap when it comes to mainstream media, right? Think about the biggest rappers you can ever think of as far as mainstream media is concerned. You'd have to throw Tupac in there because he crossed, into another realm as far as media coverage and all that type of shit. Maybe Jay-Z, Kanye.
Kanye is definitely. He was popular.
He was at his peak. He was
at their peaks, right? Yeah. So when you think about it, at his peak right now, Drake is probably bigger than any rapper's ever been commercially, bro. Probably within
ever been
commercial especially for this amount of time.
Man, I don't know, man. You got to say
okay, when you think of Nelly, 50 Cent,
50 Cent, Nelly, Eminem,
Eminem. Okay, that's somebody who I left out.
LL Cool J in the 80s and 90s was the biggest.
But was LL Cool J still in the top 10 of every time he put a record out?
It was a different time because rap was still trying to find its way. It wasn't as commercial.
Yeah, that's true.
Like people didn't they had Adidas go to them first and be one of the first brands to. But it was it's not like it is now. It's not like where we are the biggest or the most influential culture.
Right.
With 50 Cent doing vitamin water commercials.
Or Reebok.
But I guess maybe I'm just speaking if we're talking about if it's a Drake feature, right?
Okay, but Drake, as far as pop goes, then it would say that Drake is the biggest right now, but it's nowhere near to how Eminem was.
So if you got an Eminem feature right now, would it do the same for you as it would have 10 years ago?
Probably not.
See what I mean?
Probably not.
I think so because
you think so?
No, he got a cult. His cult following makes it.
But think about it. His cult following didn't do nothing for Boogie. He signed Boogie and we cared about him.
Yeah, that was.
You see what I'm saying? Eminem even did a song and a video with this young man. It didn't really do much. Now,
Boogie might have been a real stretch though compared to anybody else that he's had.
Shout out to Boogie, man. He's a Compton nigga, man.
Everybody loves Boogie.
But that's a good point though, because now if Drake does a feature right now, like we just said,
that's not true. Because look, Drake did one with. I Love McCona. He did a song with Smiley. He did one with all these other OVO artists he had at the time.
I think Tuesday was a big song.
Tuesday was a big song.
Yeah,
Roy Woods, Pressa, them, Blocker. He did features with all of them, and they didn't have They didn't have nowhere near the same success.
But you know what? He's very selective when he does that kind of shit, because it seems like he attaches himself to what he knows is going to work as far as certain shit. Like, why would you expect Drake on a Block Boy JB song? You've never listened to another Block Boy JB song.
Street cred.
You know it, but he does that all the time, bro. He does. And you can tell he does. He maneuvers in a way to where he's going to do songs for all those people you just named, because those are his people. He fucks with them. But as far as like the Migos thing you brought up, I didn't know Drake had any connection to Migos prior to that song. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? And he just knew that it was going to work. Somehow or another, he just has an ear for that kind of shit, I guess. But it's a good point, though.
They built one hell of a relationship after that.
Bro, for real. Think about it.
Man. But like, I don't know, even before Drake hopped on Versace, it was already like starting to make an impact. Yeah. I mean, Girls Need Love was already making like an impact.
Nah, I think with Girls Need Love, I think with Drake hopping on it made it bigger.
You think it pushed it over the top?
It pushed it over the top. Like, Girls Need Love was still, it was a hot song, but I feel like with Summer Walker as an artist at that time wasn't gonna be like, it wasn't over the top. It wasn't like, okay, like, it's not like Ice Spice or something like that. True. It wasn't like that. It was just like, it was a hot song for the summer.
Now, does it have to be a new artist, or because if you think about it, he does a lot of songs with established artists. So I mean, you know, that logic can be applied both ways. But like, I think the effect is mainly with newer artists with Drake. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
like,
it only works with newer artists because then that's how he keeps his relevancy. Because they be like, oh, because look, he gonna do one. I'm almost certain he did a song with Yeet. Yeah. He did that, and then Yeet is bigger than him right now.
Yeah,
like a bigger rap star than him right now, and he did one with Bad Bunny. He did one with Bad Bunny at the time when he knew Bad Bunny was going to be literally.
And I feel like Bad Bunny right now is globally.
Yeah, like, Bad Bunny is the biggest rapper in the world.
He's the benchmark.
No, right he's the biggest rapper in the world right now. Period.
He definitely is.
Bad Bunny numbers compared to Drake. Like, it's cool, but
he's out of the water. I think Drake is just longevity wise. I think it's kind of like the LeBron James thing. Like, he's just been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So of course you rack up a lot of accolades if you do something for 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to get a lot of points. You're going to get a lot of assists. You're going to be at the top of a lot of lists because you had enough time to do it.
Now, with him trying to break these records, like he trying to break the Beatles record, he trying to break Eminem's record, he trying to break. What happens if JM, all these people be like, oh, you broke my record? They just go make another song and get themselves back on top.
Yeah.
I mean, could it work? I mean, like if Drake and Eminem dropped an album on the same day, I mean, Drake's would probably go number one.
I don't think that would ever happen. I mean, I don't think Drake is scared of the competition, but I'm sure like the label would be like, we are not taking that chance.
Against Eminem?
Yeah. Drake versus Eminem. Well, I mean, Drake could get him though. He could get him.
Depends on the album. But then you see the Drake effect applied to 21 Savage. I think that's a primary case.
Hell no. I think 21 kept all the songs that he was going to put on his album. He kept them far away from Drake and just, look, we're going to do this collaboration.
I agree with that as far as...
How is American Story better than the one they did together?
No, I'm not saying he made him a better artist. I feel like the Drake cosign and him having an album with Drake only propelled what he was already going to do.
It kind of brought him not into like the pop landscape, but more into like...
like, bro, think about the way that they...
21 Savage, when he first came out, he had the pop crowd.
It wasn't like it is now, bro.
I mean, it might not have been, but he had the motherfuckers at the shows.
I think now, like, and I use like my wife. Case in point, she listens to 21 Savage now. Right. She never gave a fuck about him before Drake. When he was, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 M's in my bank. She didn't care about none of that shit.
I don't know.
But as soon as she heard him with Drake, that is damn near her favorite Drake album. It's probably the one I like the least. And that's just, in my opinion, because of, but like, no, I think that crossover for him and help. And then timing is everything too. Timing always does that. Because you can say that the J. Cole should help 21 Savage as well, because that was kind of an off kind of turn for him to be able to feature somebody like that on the song and like it come out how it did. But no, I think even like Lil Durk, I think on a larger scale that he appealed to a more mainstream. And now you look at Lil Durk in comparison to where he was before the song he did with Drake. Just putting, that audience is a little bit different. Drake's audience is a little different than the average rappers.
Yeah, but Drake know what he be doing when he be getting on these songs with these younger artists.
Bro.
Boy, you know what you're doing. That stamp is he saying.
And it's an alliance type thing because he was going at it with Ye for a while, so you got to see who's on your side. You know what I'm saying?
I come to Chicago with young boys.
Facts. But then on the other hand, you see people like Lil Baby on the Drake feature and see what that does for him and like what he does. And, so it works both ways. I get it. But that's a very valid point. I mean, now to see how long he's going to be able to continue this is also interesting to me as well. Like, where does the fall off?
All right, but what happens can Drake and Lil Wayne put out an album in the same day? I mean, they can, but if Drake and Lil Wayne put out an album in the same day, who gonna do the bigger
Drake easily.